Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and this is Star Wars Wisdom. Believe it or not, this is episode 24. It has been a hot minute since we've done this. There'll probably be future ones where maybe we could go even more into kind of the past year of our life. Full of all sorts of things, ups and downs, blessings and trials. But very good and very difficult simultaneously.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And fitting from season 1, episode 2 of the Clone Wars, Rising Malevolence. This is the opening title card quote. Belief is not a matter of choice, but of conviction. Belief is not a matter of choice, but of conviction. So, Mrs. Two Star Wars Nerds, how about you start us off, and then I'll close with my thoughts.
I was kind of nerding out on this, and I was looking at the definitions of what these words actually mean. And so, belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. It's trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. And then a conviction is a firmly held belief or opinion. So it's almost like that conviction is a very deep, strong belief. And just as I was thinking about that, the first thing that popped through my mind is convictions change the way we live. Where we can believe something, but it cannot change our trajectory. It can just be like, yeah, we believe in that. That's cool. But when you have a conviction, it actually changes the way you live. It's a firm, hard belief. And convictions are beliefs with action behind them. And so that's just like you said, just in this season, and I think in every season, what you value, what you prioritize, like those are going to reveal what your convictions are. Those are going to reveal what your strong beliefs are. But at the same time, there's certain things where people are going to have personal convictions and personal beliefs that are going to affect the way they live. And I mean, I'm a Jesus lover. I think we're all aware of that. We've talked about that before, but it just reminded me of in Romans 14, where it talks about where what may be right for you may not be right for me. Obviously there's convictions that we should all hold, like morally not murdering each other. Like there's some convictions that I think the majority of us are going to agree on.
Or universal.
Yeah, that are universal. But then there's, even in the Christian faith, we can have different convictions from each other. And that doesn't necessarily mean one person is better or more right than the other. It's just, what is God personally doing in your life in this season? And what do you need to believe in this season? And what ways do you need to act? And so just when I was thinking of this quote, that's just what it was reminding me of just what are my personal convictions, and are they really convictions? Because I may think they're convictions, but can people from the outside tell by the way I live my life and what the fruit of my life is? Can you tell what my convictions are? So it's challenging me to, I want my convictions to show that I love Jesus. I want my convictions to show that I love my family and, all these different important things in my life. And I want to not just talk about things. I actually want to have fruit of those things in my life. And I think those are what true convictions are. Yeah.
And I mean, and really what's interesting about this very series, we were just kind of like randomly going through these opening title card quotes, and we've had times where we like come back to the channel, and honestly what was happening is something like pretty big and catastrophic would happen in a variety of ways, and sometimes health, and we don't need to even get into it now, but there was like a season like literally 8 weeks where the missus was like literally bedridden, extremely sick. And so it's like, for us, we love this, and we love talking about Star Wars, and we love geeking out. But the conviction was, like, for me in my life, it's God, and then it's my family, and then it's everything else. And so there's in this season, it's like when everything is stripped back, everything is pruned, everything is being refined.
Mm-hmm.
The conviction was, can I keep that pecking order? And can I keep things like in the right alignment? Because for me, that was a conviction I had. It was a choice I made. And it's easy when everything's going well.
Right.
When it really becomes belief, is it's like when everything in your life is actually in opposition to that. Like, will you still hold to that?
Right.
That's
when
when
it's challenged.
Yeah. So much.
When you're misunderstood.
Like, if nobody gets it but you. Like, will you burn to pay the price for your conviction? Like, to make it lighthearted, and then I'll go back to intense. I only really know one speed, and it's usually intense. But, like, I like pineapple on pizza, right?
Yes,
Apparently,
me too.
That gets people fired up.
It's controversial.
You turned me on to, like, pineapple and jalapeno, or, like, pineapple and banana pepper, or, like, someone else from a... You know, like a friend of ours was like, pepperoni and pineapple.
Yep.
Add some jalapeno, right? It's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
But the thing is, like, some people will be like, that's like as deep as my convictions go. And they will like you're not going to die for that top. You're not going to die for pizza toppings.
I hope not.
There's convictions in my life where, like, I don't say this lightly. Like, I've come to the place where I'm like, I would literally die for this. No question. Like, it's that big of a deal for me. And for me, like, I need to keep things in order. So when things assault or try and overtake, like that, these things where I'm like, I will not compromise or deny my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will be faithful to my wife. Like, I will be with her forever. Like, divorce is not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I will actually treat her with, like, dignity and honor and respect. And it's like, I will raise my two sons to be, like, men of character and integrity. And I will be not only, like, present in their life physically, but, like, actually with time investments.
Right.
And like, I could go on. And there's, like, convictions where I'm like, okay, there's seasons for things. But then you can spot it from a mile away when you're like, this is coming against that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm like, sometimes it's painful, but you have to say, like, this actually has to be pulled back. Because it's crossed a line. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're answering for, so to speak, like with our life, where it's like, did you actually live for those, and were they the right ones?
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you're passionate about them doesn't mean that they're necessarily the right convictions that you have. I think I started a thought a while ago, and in good fashion I rambled, but all that to say, you just had the idea of, like, let's just go literally in release order through these quotes.
Of the ones we haven't done yet.
And we'll just skip some of the weird ones, right? And this is the first one, season 1, episode 2. Belief is not a matter of choice, but of conviction. And so, however you found yourself here, whether there's
welcome
2 of you or more, whatever. I just I'm always honestly floored that anybody would click and watch and listen to us speak about this kind of stuff. But I would say, if you made it this far, you really do have a decision before you, and it's these things that you believe in. There's things where you know that it's not that deeply held, firm, action-oriented resolve in you. And if it's not, like, why? Do you really believe that? And if you would say it is, the only way you're going to find out if it's a conviction is it's going to be tested.
Yeah.
Like, you can't grow unless there's a stress test. And so I would say prepare for that test. But then at the end, you can be like, I held firm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I held on to this conviction. I'll let you guys be privy to something. Yeah, you're like, what the heck is this guy going to say? Let's see, my hair's getting all crazy, but I'll let you be privy to something. And then if you have any final thoughts. I do, both the missus and I, we do teach a lot in different settings, mainly church settings, but different, whether it's in front of like a congregation, or it's in front of a small group, or if it's in front of like literally like a school of ministry, like an academic setting, like literally tonight. That's what I was doing. So anyway, I've gotten this reputation. You'll find, if you've been here, this will put language to it. I've gotten this reputation for what they'll call like island style preaching or island style teaching, where it's as if I like take off on a plane. There's this island and I just circle around it for a while, never really with like a pure destination other than I'm going to go till the gas runs out and I crash land. So sometimes these wisdom talks are just that. It's me circling the island where the missus is like, I got notes.
Well, I only had a little bit. But I do have something to add.
Please close us and stop my rambling.
I think an important thing that we have to look at with our convictions, and I think it's a pro tip to get rid of like stress and anxiety, is when you're looking at your convictions, because so often we can think we have all these convictions, but a lot of times maybe they're higher than they should be. And I've heard the quote, let me try to explain this better. But like, is it something like you said, like, is this a hill worth dying on? And so often there's also convictions that we may have, but it's like, this isn't a battle I want to fight. Like I'm just going to back up and I'm going to choose not to have an opinion. Like I can still hold this conviction, and like what's happening isn't going to sway my conviction, but I'm just going to kind of drop it, and it's going to happen however it's going to happen. The people are going to do whatever they're going to do. But at the end of the day, like, you're responsible for your own life. Like, the end of the day, at the end of my life, I'm going to stand before God, and I'm going to answer for my convictions and my beliefs and the things that I've done, not the things that you've done, not the things that he's done. I'm going to answer for myself. And so when I stand before God one day, I want to have stood up on the right convictions and not wasted my time and been stressed about things that at the end of eternity don't matter, or at the end of my life don't matter. So in the moment, sometimes it's so hard because you're like, man, this is like the most important thing, because it's the biggest thing facing like right in front of you. But then when you step back and you're like, there's bigger things, and I can actually step back and drop this. And I can choose not to have an opinion. I can lay down my opinion. I can lay down what I think is right, what I think is good, what I think is best, and just be like, I'm just gonna focus on what I can do and leave everything else to everyone else.
Yeah. No, does
that make sense?
I mean, to me, it made sense. I live with you, so no, it did. And yeah, I know I said you would close, but one thing you said triggered this thought right along the same lines. Talking to a friend, I don't know about how long ago, my days and months, and it all blurs. But this kind of conversation came up about kind of the shift in perspective that I've had, and along the same lines, I remember. Essentially, I said I want to do three things. One, I want to talk less and listen more. I want to give less unsolicited advice, and I want to have less opinions on things. I want to die to having an opinion on things.
It's actually freeing.
Yeah. That's the downside to empowerment, is that you feel like you need to have an opinion on everything. And I think it's actually, freeing, liberating to say,
I don't actually have to have an opinion on that.
I don't have an opinion on that. Move on, you know? Because again, it's like, that's not a conviction of mine, man. Like, it's just not. If it is for you, we need that in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't, but it's like, you know, we need that. But it's not me.
Right.
Like, I can cheer you on, but it's not me. Anyway, we could go on for probably quite a while about this.
We'll end it here.
But with that, this has been another Star Wars Wisdom. We are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you
always.
Always.